This last news story comes to us from IGN. Nintendo Switch 2 reportedly has an 8-inch LCD screen. Written by Wesley Yinpool over there. The Nintendo Switch has an 8-inch LCD screen, according to a fresh report. Bloomberg cites Omdia analyst Hiroshi Hayase, who specializes in the display market, in its report that the unannounced Switch successor console has an 8-inch LCD screen and launches later in 2024. For context, the standard Switch has a 6.2-inch screen on the diagonal, and the OLED has a 7-inch screen. So you get an inch upgrade from the OLED, but it is LCD. Last year, VDC said Nintendo was set to release its next-gen console during the second half of 2024, with development kits in the hands of partner studios. According to the website, which has a strong track record of reporting unannounced information, the next-generation console can be used in portable mode, like the Nintendo Switch, and has an LCD screen as opposed to an OLED screen in order to keep costs down. It also reportedly comes with a cartridge slot for physical games. Reports that Nintendo has gone with an LCD screen for the Switch 2 have disappointed some fans who hope for an OLED, given that Nintendo released an OLED version of the original Switch console. However, Nintendo may repeat the trick with the Switch 2, releasing an OLED model further down the line. Earlier this year, another analyst predicted the Switch 2 would launch priced $400, with games bumped up to $70. Key question remains: is Switch 2 backwards compatible? It would be wild if it wasn't. That is to say, will it play original Switch games either physically or digitally? Nintendo of America boss Doug Bowser has refused to be drawn in on Switch 2 rumors, but pointed to the Nintendo account as a constant during the inevitable transition. So we're keeping our Nintendo accounts, but will we keep our games? Our goal is to minimize the dip you typically see in the last year of one cycle and the beginning of another, Bowser said. I can't speak to those possible features of a new platform, but the Nintendo account is a strong basis for having that communication as we make the transition. So we will see, but what are your thoughts on the lack of an OLED? Because for me, I saw that and I'm like, well, I've fallen head over heels for the OLED screen, both in my Switch and in my Steam Deck now.
As have I.
To go back seems like a wild choice.
So
I don't know. I don't know if I could do it because it's so beautiful. The colors are so vibrant and great. The contrast are just perfection. It just makes games pop. It's like almost like having a 3D screen and it's not 3D. You know what it means? It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's gorgeous. So it seems wild to go back to an LCD screen, but
it does. But here's the deal, right? Here's the deal. Let me talk you off the ledge. So LCD technology in the past 6 to 7 years since the original Switch has come out has gotten worlds better than the one that we got on the original unit, right? So Nintendo could technically get away with an LCD if it's 1080, which I'm pretty sure it can be. Also, color representation and black levels have gotten much better on LCDs. Of course, they're nowhere near an OLED, but I feel like they could make something that's perfectly serviceable. My rub, however, with this whole display talk is the fact that it's 8 inches, because that means that the unit is going to be much bigger.
Yeah.
And it's already bordering like, oh, is this portable? Is this, it's not Steam Deck, of course, but like, it's something you have to consider.
Well, okay, so the Steam Deck OLED, the standard Steam Deck has a 7-inch screen and the OLED's 7.4. So it's even bigger than an OLED screen. So, I mean, technically it might be chunkier. It might be Steam Deck size.
There's no physics would dictate that it needs to be a bigger unit, but that's not what I was looking for. I would have rather made it the same screen size, but just make it thicker if you need to. I think the 7-inch, or what is it on OLED or the Switch OLED? Isn't it just 7 even?
Yeah, I think it's 7 even. The article said.
I would have rather them do maybe like a 7.2, get all the way rid of the bezels, and then just make the system thicker to accommodate for the new hardware inside, because I'm sure they're gonna have to have a more substantial fan. I would have rather them done it that way, because like I said, this one is on the borderline of being portable. So now you're gonna tell me you're gonna make it an extra inch bigger, which means the whole system has to get to compensate a square inch bigger. Oh my God. But circling back, I don't think LCD is as big of a deal as people are making it out to be, especially these days. Well, is it not? Is it OLED? Oh yeah, OLED. Is it OLED? No. Are we gonna get an OLED and everybody's gonna buy it? Yeah,
100%.
But I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that could persuade me if the Switch 2 came out, because initially I was like, what, LCD? Like, no way, I'll stick with my original Switch. But if it comes out and it is higher res and able to actually run at the higher res too, because that's the other thing, because technically the Switch can run at 1080 sometimes when it's docked. Sometimes.
Right. Sometimes.
There's like an asterisk. There's like 3 asterisks in there. Sometimes is listed like 4
if it's
times.
An indie.
Like, yeah. It's
like,
if
it's docked.
A big fat maybe. But with this, it's like, okay, if it has 1080 on the 8-inch and it's actually running at 1080, and again, like you said, it's a newer LCD with like a better color, like a higher quality color profile, like a wider color gamut, I guess is what I'm looking for, the correct verbiage there. That could pull me in. I mean, you're not going to get quite the same contrast and stuff like that, but
of course,
yeah,
not.
just like the little bit of vibrancy to the colors, because even, which sounds wild, but even like going from like an original to like the OLED, that's what I immediately notice is like I go back to an old Switch or an old Steam Deck, and I'm just like, oh, it's so washed out. It's so washed. It's like playing in black and white. Might as well not have any color. Like, what is this? It's so I would hope it's like, all right, yeah, get a good quality. Like, yeah, you want to save cost, get that good quality LCD in there, so actually it's good colors. And then that higher res, even though like a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, at that small, like you're not gonna notice 1080p. It's like, no, I think you would.
It depends on what you're looking at.
8 inches, that's getting pretty big at that point. Like, honestly, you're almost to a mini laptop at that. You could buy like what was those old? I don't even know if they
netbooks.
Yeah, the old like netbooks. Like you could buy 8-inch netbooks back in the day. Like imagine having a 1080p netbook, basically. Like, I think you would notice. I think you could notice.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. No big deal.
We'll see. We will see. Lindsay kind of agrees with us in some things too. But yeah, if the Switch 2 can't be handheld and docked, then Nintendo would be shooting themselves in the foot. So true. But the thing is, with Nintendo, you never know. Like you can't trust them. You can't trust
me so bad.
You can trust them about as far as you can throw them.
No, you know where you can 100% trust them? Games. It doesn't matter whatever the gimmick is for the console, the games are always going to be fire. The console, the hardware, gamble.
Man. But yeah, if it's not backwards compatible too, like that just seems, with such an incredible library on the Switch, it'd be wild. So my only hope is that since they're so adamant about keeping the Nintendo account, whatever they call it, I would hope that means that at least digital games could carry over. It does say it takes cartridges, so how it would be wild of them to come up with a new proprietary cartridge shape, but they've done it in the past too. So it's like you can't run it. Like they literally went from NES cartridges to Super Nintendo to N64 to mini disc on game. Like they come out with a new form factor almost every time, except for between Wii and Wii U. It's the only time they didn't. So I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out. How about it says, how about 2 8-inch LCD screens on top of each other? The brand new DS. Let's go. It is just a netbook. It's just a netbook that opens up with 2 touch screens, top and bottom.
I wouldn't put it in your backpack. You try to slide it in your backpack and you get taken back a little bit because of how heavy it was. It's like carrying a weight on your back. Absolutely not.
I mean that what was that? That thing came out a couple months ago, right? Those plans we talked about on the show. Remember, there was like not a copyright. What is it called? Trademark or whatever the designs are, blueprints.
Oh yeah.
Something was they're working on some secret plans. It doesn't necessarily mean that the Switch 2 is going to implement it, but like you always get those things coming out where they're like, oh, here's some.
Oh, it's going to split apart, and this is how you split it apart, and then put it back together, and now you have 2 systems that are the same instead of 1. So we can charge you for 2 systems.
Lindsay makes a good point, like how the GameCube was portable with a handle. I mean,
it
was onto something there.
honestly,
if it's just two 8-inch LCDs strapped together with a big handle on the back, I'm in.
if they just make another DS, I'm in.
A DS, but with a big old GameCube handle on the back of it. So it's just like you can use it as like a dumbbell. You can lift weights with.
The handle is bigger than the system. It's just it's just a GameCube handle they found. Like they had a bunch of them in the warehouse, and they just
barely works. It's
drill
barely
it in
like short enough. Yeah,
on the back.
Give it to me. Come on, Nintendo. What are you doing? What are you doing? Hire us. We'd make a good console.
Please, I'll make you a great console if Sega doesn't get me first.
Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the whole episode, the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.